Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Now, Ray, he's laying there with his wife, and he's telling her that he wants to be around more, but it's some things he's trying to tie up. See, what she didn't understand is that he's trying to walk away from the game. He wants to give her all the attention that she wants and desires, but it's a few things that he has to take care of first. He has to get everything lined up so that he can retire. I'm going to tell you something. It's hard to retire from the dope game and walk away from all of the attention that you get and all the responsibility that it calls for. You really never are able to walk away, unless you get arrested or you die on the level that Ray was on. So basically, all he was going to be doing was handing it off to somebody else. That's how a criminal organization works when you're doing things like that. Because the people that you nurture these relationships over the years, the suppliers of what you need and all this and that, they love and trust you. They're not just going to trust anybody. You're going to have to pick somebody that they are familiar with. You're going to have to do that. And that person that he's grooming to be able to step in his shoes and take over, that's going to be there for him and all this and that, the one he trusts the most is Kenny. Kenny's his guy. But see, she don't know that. But as they lay there that night and they fall asleep in the bed and she wakes up in the middle of the night and she starts to think that I need to be careful. Maybe I don't need to be doing what I'm doing, but she couldn't get Kenny out of her mind. He was in her dreams. He was in her head when she's making love to her husband. She could not get him out of her heart. All they had done was kissed. But it was that kiss that had ignited this spark in her that made her believe that she could have a better life with him than with her husband. So she started to convince herself, he hasn't been here. Why should he deserve another chance at the life that I want to have? Why should I give him this opportunity? I can start fresh. I can start new with Kenny. But see, she's got to get Ray out of the way. How do you do that with a man as powerful as Ray? Nobody's going to tolerate anything happening to him because he's the bread and the butter. So if you do something to him, off with your head. So that can't be. That can't be. The only way in a relationship to get rid of a drug dealer, listen to me now, is with the help of the police. So she thinks about the situation that she's in and trying to figure out a way, and she gets up the next day and she, again, is all alone. He's gone before she wakes up, taking care of whatever he needs to take care of. And then Kenny shows up. And he comes straight up to their room, knocks on the door and walks in, and he sees her. And he knows that nobody's there. Ray Jr. is off at school. He walks straight into her and he walks straight up to her and he hugs her and he kisses her. And he tells her, he said, look, I couldn't get you out of my mind all night. And she said, I thought about you all night. But she didn't tell him that she made love to her husband. She said, I thought about you all night. And he looked at her, he said, tell me, what were you thinking? And she told him that I thought of you making love to me. It was all in my head. And he said, tell me, what was it like? What did we do? And she scrambled and tried to figure out what to say to him, but she couldn't really figure out what to say. And he said, you don't have to imagine that. So he walked over to the door and he shut and locked the door and he laid her down on the bed and he made passionate love to her. And it was just like she had imagined. But see, she couldn't even lay there and relish in the moment because she was so afraid of what could happen. She got up and she got the sheets and she took the sheets down to the laundry. Came back up to the room to spend some time with him. They took a shower together and made love again and again and again. And before you know it, it was time to pick up little Ray. So she sent the driver to pick up little Ray from the school. And when he got home, Mommy was there to greet him like she always had been. And Kenny was there as well, playing the role as the loyal employee. as the number 2 for her husband and the uncle to Ray Jr. He's playing his role. But see, those blankets and sheets that she took downstairs, they have a maid, and the maid, when she gets the blankets and the sheets ready to throw into the washer, she smells them, and it smells of sex. She doesn't think anything of it because, that Patricia's married to Ray, so maybe. But she thinks it's weird because she's never brought the sheets down here in the middle of the day. It's always that she goes to the room, and when she cleans up the room, she replaces the sheets and the blankets. Well, what's different here? So she started to watch him, and she started to notice that something's different. They're moving around more like a couple versus an employee, a trusted employee at that, making sure that everything's safe around the house. So she starts to make notes of things. She's loyal to Ray, and she thinks this is terrible, what is happening, if it's true. So days go by, weeks go by, months go by. No change in Ray's behavior. No change in his behavior. He's still doing the same thing, so she's getting impatient. Patricia's growing impatient with, what about this change? What about this leaving everything alone? She starts to make reasons and excuses every day to spend more time with Kenny, to make love to Kenny, to make plans with Kenny. And they're getting more and more intense in how they feel in the laundry. The lady that does the cleaning around the house, she's paying attention to all of the different things, and she's getting more frustrated with it. So one day when Ray comes home, she tells him, says, something is going on between Kenny and Miss Patricia. And he says, what are you talking about? What do you mean something is going on? And she tells him, she said, they're acting more like they're married than you and Miss Patricia. She said, I've had to wash the sheets and blankets on days that I normally don't, and they smell like sex. So Ray reached back and he smacked her. And she fell to the floor crying. She said, I'm just looking out for you, sir. Something is going on. And he tells her to get your stuff and get out. Don't you ever come back. So she cries and she gathers her things and she leaves. She leaves. Ray goes upstairs and he confronts Patricia, and he tells Patricia that, he was just told that something is going on between her and Kenny, and he just fired the maid. And Patricia, she says, how dare she, where is she at? And he tells her she's gone. And she tells Ray, I can assure you that nothing is going on. I don't understand why she would say something like that, but the fear is washing all over her. She's wondering, does he believe me? And like a lot of people do, they try to distract you. So to distract him, listen to me, y'all. You need to pay attention to the signs. To distract him, she closed the space between them, put her arms around him, and tells him that you're the only one for me. And she kisses him. And she prods and she pulls at him, wanting him to make love to her right then, right there, to assure him that she belongs to him. She offers herself up to him, but he doesn't have time. He said, not tonight. I have things I have to do. And even though it was meant to distract him from the situation and what he was talking about, she still feels rejected by him. And it spooks her even more. So she gets Kenny, and she talks to him and she tells him, because Ray has just left, she tells Kenny that we have a problem. And she runs down to him what the maid had told Ray and what Ray had told her, and now they're both spooked. And he says, what did you do? And she told him what she did. And this makes him angry because you made love to him, or you tried to make love to him, and you belong to me. And she said, he rejected me still. But still, in the back of Kenny's mind, you wanted to. And see, he had taken this to another level in his mind that she already belonged to him. She's a married woman. So he admonishes her and he makes her feel bad, and she tells him, look, wait a minute. You want to know what she says to him? You're going to have to tune in to the next episode, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so tired.